Welcome back, focused learners. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating concept from a source text called Mind Trace. It tackles this incredibly frustrating everyday problem. Why is it that our actions so rarely produce the exact results we expect? You know what I mean, right? Okay, let's dive into this and look at the hidden mechanics of why doing all the right things sometimes, well, gets us completely wrong outcomes. Section 1. The action paradox. We've all been there. Doing all the manual labor of personal development, setting the alarms, reading the books, checking the boxes, but still not seeing the results we expect. Mind Trace gives us a sequence of examples that really hits the nail on the head. I mean, have you ever noticed two people walking into the exact same room? On paper, their physical actions are a literal mirror image, step for step. Yet the reaction they get from that room, the conversations they spark, the energy they bring, it's completely different. Or think about this second example from the text. Two people start the exact same business. Let's say it's a neighborhood coffee shop. They target the exact same market, source the exact same beans, take the exact same strategic steps to launch, the whole shebang. Yet, one of them ends up with a line wrapped around the block, while the other, bankrupt in 6 months. And then, there's this final scenario. Two people give to the exact same charity. The monetary amount, identical. The physical act of clicking that donate button is exactly the same. 3 identical sets of physical actions, leading to entirely different worlds. This brilliantly illustrates the paradox of action versus outcome. The manual steps, walking into the room, starting the business, making the donation, are exactly the same. Yet they somehow produce wildly divergent results. Seriously, if we're only looking at the physical steps being taken, the math just doesn't add up. Which brings us to Section 2, the invisible blueprint. Let's transition here and reveal what actually controls these completely different results. So, the crucial point is, if the physical action isn't dictating the outcome, what on earth is? Well, the source text drops this massive paradigm shift on us. The outcome of your life isn't actually decided by your actions. Think about that for a second. It turns out everything we've been taught about just doing it or focusing purely on massive action is missing a foundational layer. The action is really just the vehicle, right? It is not the driver. So what is the driver? Outcomes are actually determined by something much, much deeper. An invisible precursor that happens before you take a single step. We're talking about the deep intention formed in our minds before our feet ever even hit the floor in the morning. If your underlying intention is driven by fear or maybe desperation, rather than a genuine desire to serve, well, it subtly alters your body language. It changes your microexpressions, your tone of voice, your resilience when things inevitably get tough. And that right there is exactly why the exact same physical action yields a completely different result. Let's move to and see how this builds, because Mind Trace gives us a really fantastic metaphor to cement this idea. Basically, most of us are out here acting like laborers. We're busy building the house of our lives, right? Swinging the hammer, doing all the exhausting manual work. But we consistently forget to act like the architect. We're building blindly, taking action after action, without ever stopping to check the invisible blueprints that actually dictate what that house will look like when the dust settles. Section 3. Becoming the architect. It is absolutely time to change our approach today and step into the role this text calls us to take. Now, what's really interesting about this definition is how it urges us to completely step back from all that blind manual labor. An architect of intention is one who determines the outcome of their life before taking a single step. Before you swing the hammer, you absolutely must design the intention. Because when you do that, you know for sure, with absolute certainty, that the right actions will just naturally follow a well-drawn design. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a lingering question. One that'll hopefully fundamentally shift your daily mindset from action first to intention first. What does your blueprint look like today? I mean it. Before you walk into that next room, before you launch that next big project, or even just sit down for a difficult conversation, check your blueprint. Become the architect of your intention. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.